Woo, woo, woo. And of course, accompanying Andrew, and he's also going to be the moderator for this one-on-one session, is Andy Heng from TOYSREVIL.net. Yes, come on up, Andy, and please take your seat. Woo! Okay, so I shall now hand the stage over to Andy.
Hello everyone. Hello.
Hello.
Round of applause again for Mr. Andrew Bell. Clap! Clap like you mean it. Okay, my name is Andy. I'm from TOYSREVIL. Some of you all might know me, some of you don't. Doesn't matter. It's not my show. It's Mr. Andrew Bell, who I'll pitch. I do sales pitch. Who has released the Ono Sashimi Singapore edition. And I hope you all managed to get it because it is essentially the only special edition for this event. I'm excited about it. I managed to get one this time, so it's cool. And what will happen today is have a little chit-chat session with Andrew, and subsequently later on we'll have a Q&A to the floor. There'll be a microphone. So please do not be shy. This is your chance to ask Andrew questions. Then subsequently we'll do a quick wrap-up. And when this event ends, Andrew will take a short break. Then he will be over at booth G26, his own booth. So if you all need to get anything signed out or buy anything, can go and grab him there later. Okay, thank you. So I'll start simple questions. So Andrew, what do you think of Singapore?
It's very nice. I like Singapore. I've only been here for a few days, but I've been eating a lot.
One question, do any of y'all tweet? Let's see a show of hands. Not shy. Walao, power a bit lah. If y'all can tweet right now at Dead Zebras, Andrew's Twitter is Dead Zebra. I hope y'all know lah. Walao, DEADZEBRA. You can tweet at Dead Zebras panel at STGCC or #sign STGCC. That'd be great lah. I don't think we'll be able to trend lah, but at least have a bit of support for Andrew. At the same time, Andrew, if you all follow his tweet, you knew he tweeted he had chili crab yesterday. You're worried now? Don't shy, man. That to me is very significant because at least Twitter allows us to inform everybody else what he's doing. So obviously we can't tweet right now, so depend on you all to tweet.
I can't tweet at all because my phone doesn't work in Singapore.
Oh.
I have to do it from the computer at the hotel. I can do it later tonight.
I won't ask you where you're staying so they can stop you.
Okay.
But have you been at the booth G26 so far?
Yeah, I stopped by before and sales were going well.
Have you been around the convention?
I looked around briefly this morning, but I didn't really get much of a chance to look around.
Okay. Because I wanted to find out from you, what do you think of this convention? Because you've obviously been to San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah, I've done San Diego every year for the last 8 years.
8 years. Do any of you know what booth Andrew Bell displays at San Diego Comic-Con? No prize, I'm sorry.
Maybe.
So it's the umbrella.
Yeah, the umbrella.
It's the umbrella. So at this Comic-Con, you displayed Ono Sashimi red, blue and green.
Yeah.
So red for Singapore. How did this convention exclusive come about?
Well, I got invited to come here a few months ago, and since I was promoting sashimi, that was the new toy, and I thought I would be fun to do an exclusive version. And I looked at the flag for inspiration, the color scheme, the red and the white, and the eyes of the star and the crescent. And it made sense to design it that way, and I was able to get it done very quickly.
Yeah, from what I heard, it's very, very quick.
Yeah, it's hard to get production started.
Fair enough, because it's curious for a lot of fans and collectors out as well, how to be a designer. Sorry, I asked that question.
That's right.
How to be a designer and reach a level because I was talking to a few exhibitors from Artist Alley as well, how you reach a level where you become an invited guest, being flown over, and sitting on stage with this no-name blogger to talk about toy design. What advice would you give for anybody who wants to tread that path or who wants to head towards that direction?
I think the best advice is just persistence. You really have to create something all the time. You have to be constantly drawing and sketching and producing artwork. And when I first started, I was just doing it for fun on the side, just putting up the pictures on the internet. And I made myself draw every single day for years because I didn't really like drawing when I first started doing what I was doing. I was doing computer animation and 3D art, and I really wanted to do animation and art, but it was hard to find a job in New York doing 3D design. At the time, there was only one studio. They were working on Ice Age, but they were still in the middle of making it. They weren't hiring anyone. So when I was out of school, there was no jobs to do 3D. So then I started drawing, and just on the side while I was working. And I think drawing every day, putting it out there, and promoting myself, and going to conventions and meeting fans.
How did you start out at conventions? What do you do at conventions? Besides, to promote yourself.
Yeah, well, I learned a lot from my friends in Umbrella, the group, because they had been to conventions before. So they sort of helped me figure out how to do conventions, just to have a lot of promotional materials, be okay giving away lots of postcards and posters and prints and things. And then after a few years of going every year, you have a fan base that's built up. And they come back to see you, and they know your face and they know your products, and they want to talk to you and buy more of it and start collecting all your work.
Because another question, it's because conventions are very live based. I give you, thank you, you take. Versus going online, because initially you did mention about putting your work online and letting people know. How important is an online presence? I wouldn't say versus, but how important is the online presence as well as going on conventions? Because the fear of conventions is it happens once a year, or maybe 2 or 3 different conventions in a year. But that's one time you can meet people and say hello and ask something. But how strong do you think it's an online presence as important to let's say a creator?
Yeah, online presence is very important. It's good to have a regularly updated website, as you know. With your blog, you update many times a day. But I think just as important as that, people who are online, they have very short attention spans. So they will come to your site, they'll see your stuff, and they'll move on to the next site and maybe forget about you. But if you get a chance to meet people in person at conventions and shows and art galleries and things like that, people will remember you and they'll see a face and they know your name, and they're more likely to come back and look at your artwork and support you in the future.
Because I remember you are one of the very few, and this is no BS here, you're one of the very few artists who actually updates your website. Because all artists got a flashy, nice website. Wow, sweet flash but all the picture old. 2-3 years later, it's still same picture. Then they will start another separate blog. So if you want to know more, you go to see his website, point to another blog, you go to another blog. If ever you are noticed, of course you go and click later on www.creaturesinmyhead.com. I'll ask you the question why the name comes from later. You will see that he actually updates his website with his new customs and drawings. I see you doing drawings more than toys. Because the question I had before was a lot Asian. In Asia, we see toys first more than see artists. Or it's very media based. You see a cartoon, anime, movie, you recognize the character, wow, nice. Then it becomes a toy, wow, nice. Who made one? Don't know. Doesn't matter. Wow, nice, the movie, very nice, character, very nice. And I see you illustrating a lot. And I had a question before, which I'll ask again. Why creatures in my head?
Because that's just where they come from. You know, I don't really sit down and think about drawing a monster. It's just that it comes out of my head. I sit down with a blank piece of paper and I just like doodling, and then they just come out. And there's many of them in there.
how much would you say what you post online compared to what you do not post, which is more?
I do a lot of sketching. I have a sketchbook that I carry around with me, so I fill up a sketchbook every few months. But online, maybe 20% of what I actually draw. You know, I'm very picky about my own artwork, so I don't like to share it if I don't feel like it's ready to be seen.
I like the way you say you're picky about your artwork. Also a side question, but I'm sorry if I'm wrong, but have you ever released a sketchbook compilation of your sketches?
No, I haven't. I mean, a lot of the sketches I do are very small and very light. So
smaller book,
yeah, well, I could, very small book.
Then the big book with small picture.
Yeah, I think about it. I have, I think, 8 or 9 full books of sketches and monsters and creatures.
Because it will be interesting as well. Because I think we are used to a lot of polish, like polish item, finished toy, finished book. And slowly you see a trend where you get to see a lot of sketches, and it becomes a commodity. Not just a sellable one, in lieu of humanizing.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times in the past, artists will just post pictures and that's it. You don't know what's going on with their life. You cannot contact them. And the fact that they can tweet you right now, and afterwards, of course, they go and flood your Twitter, you know.
Yeah.
But there's a direct contact, so which is a cool aspect. How comfortable are you with that? That people can actually contact you, in theory, let's say Twitter on Facebook straight away.
I think it's great. I love being able to talk to people who like my artwork and get feedback and hear from them. I even do most of my own customer service on the website. And people, maybe their order will be taking too long. They send me an angry email, but they don't expect me to reply to them. They expect someone else to reply. And then when they see my name on it, they get very happy. And suddenly they're much nicer to me. But no, I think it's important to talk to people directly. And I really enjoy that part of being an artist. It's, being especially at conventions and shows and seeing people's faces and seeing how they react to the product that we have out on the table and the artwork. And if anyone wants to come see my sketchbook, and you promise not to steal any of my ideas, you can see my sketchbook.
I never say he say
Just ask me.
I wanted to ask how many of you are Andrew Bell fans. It's quite a stupid question. What champion I like. At the same time, with the people that you met at the convention today, so far in your signings, is there any difference from, let's say, San Diego Comic-Con?
No, I think people here are just as passionate and just as interested in comics and toys as anyone that goes to Comic-Con. And the Comic-Con is very international as well. You have people from all over the world coming there. It feels very similar being here. It's a little more focused here. In the Comic-Con in the States, it's a lot of movies and many games and lots of old comic retailers selling back issues and things. And here it's a little more focused on a very select few people, which is good because a lot of the things in the old other Comic Con is just noise that you don't pay attention to.
Yeah, fair enough, nice. I think we'll continue with toys. One of your more famous ones is a very obvious one. It's the Android toy. It's Android. Any of you have the Andrew Bell's Androids? 2 hands Wow.
There's a few.
Don't tekan me. How? I'm curious, and I'm sure a lot of people are as well. How did the Android connection come about? Because in theory, they could just go straight off to a factory and make non-stop, unending versions of it. How did the connection ended up with you?
It actually started at a Comic-Con a long time ago. A friend I met who was drawing comics in San Diego Comic-Con, he was at Artist Alley, and he just drew comics for fun on the side. And he ended up working at Google many years later. And when they were developing Android and trying to think of promotional ideas, he said, I know someone that can make toys, and he's an artist. And so they gave me a call, and I flew out to the Google office in Mountain View, California, and we talked about developing their little mascot into a set of blind boxes and promotional items. And at first they just wanted to have the Android toys to give away inside of Google, because there's so many people in Google, they could do an entire run of toys and they would just be gone in minutes. But I convinced them to let me do a public sale and produce them in bigger numbers to give to stores.
Because I was surprised. I mean, when Series 1 came out, okay, fair enough, we understand. And when Series 2 came out, there were other artists involved.
Yeah.
Gary Ham, Scott Tolson, and Dr. A, and yourself. I reviewed all of your toys. And it was surprising to me because it included artists as well, plus I forgot Jeff Yatzek.
Yeah, there's a few people from Google.
I got his chase.
Yeah.
So it was surprising that that could happen. At the same time, from Series 1 to Series 2 and the special editions, then came the summer editions, the heroes and villains. I was very curious, how did that come about? Because in the past, it was like New Year one, Tyson Year, then Christmas there's one, then Halloween there's one, and suddenly for heroes and villains, there were actually 4 at the same time. So how did that concept come about?
Well, I wanted to do more than just one for the summer, the special. I was struggling to come up with an idea, and then I remembered that every year, I go to Comic-Con every year. Summer to me means going to comic conventions and seeing big blockbuster movies, and seeing all the pop culture references, all the fighting movies, and all the heroes, and all the superheroes, and all the bad guys. And it just made sense to have some sort of box set where there would be good guys, bad guys, and it would really work well in the summer and the market, the toy collectors, comic collectors, and people who are there for movies. So I just wanted to have one Android that everyone would really like, a different one for everyone to enjoy.
Now I'm going to put you in the spot.
Okay.
Would there be an Android Series 3?
Yes. I think it's pretty.
Can you drop any names of artists being involved, excluding Andrew Bell?
Other than me? Maybe. Not yet.
I've always had a question actually. This is the gate question, pardon me, Hong. With all the Androids that you released, I mean, in the past they're all fixed to a certain form, except for Nuclear with the mini, the propeller head. Would Android toys ever come with accessories?
You know, accessories?
Parts.
Yeah, there's been a few.
Not vehicles, but
tanks. Android tanks. Yeah, I think as we go on, we've been adding some more accessories to something like the Chinese special edition one. He had a hat and a scroll, and the snowman had the nose and the hat. So I think Series 3 will have a few accessories. And I have a few more artists in Series 3, so I think we'll get some more interesting submissions.
Okay, I won't ask you what's in Series 3, but when can we expect?
Probably next spring. We just started working on it. And it takes a few months to get all the designs in. And then a few months we have to go back and forth with Google and myself, and we pick the designs that we want. And then production of a prototype. And production after that takes a while.
If you all follow, sorry, pardon my Singlish, if you people follow Andrew Bell's blog at the DYZ Plastic, blog.dyzplastic.com, he actually blogs about,
I have too many websites.
It's all good, man. He actually blogs about the making of Google Toy. If you check the website, you can see factory picture, and you can see Chong Android. Sorry, Chong means slang for bootleg. Bootleg Androids, made in China versus official Androids, and the actual making of Androids. And he releases images of the new Androids on his website. Besides my blog, so if you need to catch up with, if you're Android fans, you can catch up with that. At the same time, you also blog about your recent toys on DYZ Plastic as well.
Yeah, I use the DYZ Plastic site as a production blog. So things I'm working on toy-wise and releases that I have coming up. And I try to separate that from the artwork because it's just too much to have on one blog all at once.
So that means Creatures in My Head is artwork come customs, whereas let's say DYZ Plastic is production toys.
Yeah, it's only production toys on DYZ Plastic.
Because besides, I'm sure you know, besides Androids and Ono Sashimi and Ono Sushi, Andrew has released other toys, The Giver, Zelix, Group, and
Group is my first toy.
Group is the first toy with the interchangeable faces. When was your first toy ever made?
A group started in, I think I designed it in 2004, a bit early in 2004. And it took about a year for production. It came out at the end of the year, 2004. And it was a long, hard production. But that wasn't the hardest one. I think the hardest one was probably the slicks because they had so many different parts and eyeballs and different shapes.
It amazed me quite a bit because it was self-produced.
Yeah.
It was produced by DYC, which is yourself. Then, what led to you self-producing your toys? Does anything lead to that, or is something you've always wanted to do?
No, when I first started getting into toys, there weren't many out there. It was probably 2000, maybe 2000 or so. I saw a Michael Lau figure, and I thought, what is this? Why does this toy cost $100? Why is it so expensive? It's just a toy. And then I went to a toy store in New York called Toy Tokyo, and they have tons of all the Hong Kong vinyl and the original stuff. And I just fell in love with it, and I decided that I wanted to translate my artwork into toys and try it myself. And at the time, there weren't many companies to talk to. Kid Robot was getting started up, but they only had a few small things, and they were mostly just an importing company at that point. So the only really option I had was to learn how to do the production and find a factory and do my own production and pay for it myself, because I wasn't popular enough to get someone else to want to invest money in me. So I saved up my money, found a manufacturer, and did all the production.
Kudos for your courage. Because making toy is not cheap, but at the same time, it's the strength that you are able to self-produce subsequently until now. Would we ever see a re-release of your earlier figures? Because right now, of course, everything is androids, or no sashimi, or no sushi. But will we see earlier? Do you know about his earlier toys? Zilix, Group, G-R-O-O-B, G-L-O-B is another group.
No, there's G-R-O-O-B. You're right.
G-R-O-B.
With
There's
bar.
another one with the box.
Which one? Glop in a box.
Glop in the box. Will we see a re-release of them later?
No, I think that's part of the fun of limited edition toys, is that they're released once and then you get them or you don't, and you have to chase them down if you really want the old ones. They're harder to find, so I don't plan on re-releasing them anytime.
Do you have any original toys in the works that you might not necessarily be able to say clearly?
Yeah, I always have some toys in the works. I have a new vinyl that's going to be Japanese style vinyl, but we're trying to make it in the United States.
Okay. But it's again self-produced.
Yeah, well, no, that one is a partnership with My Plastic Heart.
Oh, nice.
And then another one, a partnership with Big Plastics in Hong Kong.
But not on your platform.
No.
Nice.
My own original toys.
That's nice. Because it seems you are leading towards, you have been all mostly original works.
Yeah.
I mean, don't count the dummies and stuff, but you have been all original works. Is that something you insist on having, or it's based on whatever comes your way? It's like, could you design for me my platform toy?
Yeah.
Would you necessarily say, no, I want to do my own, or it's depending on how much freedom?
It depends on the platform, if it's interesting, if the company is asking me, has a good reputation or not, and if it's something that I feel like I can contribute to that platform, something that hasn't been contributed before, because there's so many toys, like the dummies, like Bear Bricks, there's so many hundreds of versions of them. If I can't come up with something that I think is original and interesting, I'm not going to work on it. I'd rather work on my own figures themselves.
Very soon, we'll open the questions Q&A to the floor. Maybe I'll ask Andrew another question, then I'll leave it to you guys. Please ask question. I think I talk somehow very dry. Maybe what would lead to the audience? Because let's say in terms of Singapore, it's either a very commerce situation. It means we just buy. What you have, you buy. What you have, you buy. But there's a stronger pocket where it's creator-based as well. But it's always harder because everybody becomes very 2D.
Yeah.
Draw flat. there's no avenue, I'm only selling flat, and a lot of people would be wondering how to go beyond that. But maybe it's not a matter of how to go beyond that, which I like what we talked about earlier, being persistent. But persistent being knowing you're good, or persistent being hopefully you can con someone into liking what you do.
If you're persistent, you will become good after a while. I don't think my early drawings are very good, but you have to force yourself to keep going, and then you'll get better, and then you become confident in yourself, and other people see that you're confident, and they will admire you and enjoy your work because you stand behind it, and you can show off who you really are.
Confident of your own style.
Yeah, it takes a while. I mean, I'm still not quite confident, but...
Are you familiar with Andrew Bell's sketches? Yes, thank you. Okay, now we open the question to the floor. Anybody